Hey, and welcome to Board with Life News for February 3rd. Today I'm going to talk about an expansion for Mystium, Caravan, an expansion for Dead of Winter, Seafall, Pandemic Reign of Cthulhu, as well as the Kickstarter for Thief's Market. Let's get to it. Hey, I'm Chris. Welcome to Board with Life News. It's been a very busy week in gaming, news-wise, so I'm just going to jump right into it. The first Mystium expansion is coming out. It's called Hidden Signs. It says it's going to have new suspects, new places, and new objects. It will add new cards, but there's no info on how this will change the game, if it's simply going to be new cards with new art to add into your game, or if it's going to have some sort of new mechanic or anything like that. So it's still very mysterious. Haha, Mystium. And so I will definitely keep y'all informed as we get more info on that. Z-Man has announced the upcoming game Caravan for Spiel 2016. This is designed by Emerson Matsuki. It was originally actually signed by Plaid Hat Games, but they decided it would fit better in Z-Man's kind of lineup, so they transferred it over there, which is kind of an interesting thing that's happening because they're both owned by F2Z, the larger company. So that's kind of an interesting thing where they can sort of give games back and forth depending on where they fit better. This is kind of like a Euro hand management card game. It's gonna the interesting thing about it is it's gonna have two different editions. It's gonna have the Spice Road edition, which is just kind of a very Euro-y theme and very Euro-y artwork. And the other is a Crystal Golem edition. This one has kind of more fantasy-inspired artwork and theme. They're going to have different art and components in each box. The gameplay is going to be the exact same, though. So this is kind of an interesting experiment coming out from Z-Man Games on which game is going to sell better. My assumption is that the Crystal Golem one will sell better just because it is a more fun theme. I'm a person that loves Euro games and doesn't particularly care about theme. It can be about trading spices in the Mediterranean or whatever, and that doesn't bother me. But that doesn't mean I prefer that theme over something else. It just doesn't bother me if it's there. So if I have the choice between fantasy-style artwork with a cool golem on the front that's all pretty versus some guys in some sand, I'm going to pick that one. So... but we'll definitely see, and this will be an interesting litmus test for the market in general, if kind of the old Euro games from the early 2000s and those themes have sort of run their course for people buying games. We've received news of Dead of Winter, The Long Night, which is going to be a standalone expansion for the game Dead of Winter that was wildly popular a year or two ago. This is, as I said, a standalone expansion, so this is going to be, if you don't own Dead of Winter, that's fine, you can play this game, or you can mix it in with Dead of Winter. It's going to have new Crossroads cards, new characters, locations, all sorts of different stuff. It's going to be very big and huge. They have announced that they're going to be releasing this at Origins this year, so that's really excited, that will be a big release for Origins. Keeping with Plaid Hat big releases, we've gotten word that Seafall will premiere at Gen Con this year, which will be a huge release. This is one of the most anticipated games of the past couple years. It's a legacy game designed by Rob Diavial, the designer who came up with the legacy idea, first in Risk Legacy and then co-designed Pandemic Legacy. This is the first game by Rob that is going to be entirely from the ground up his design. It's not putting a legacy theme on Pandemic or on Risk, so that's really exciting. I've gotten to play a version of it, but it was a year and a half ago, so I know it's changed a bunch from then. That one was good, so I have very high hopes for this game, and I'm very excited about it. Z-Man announced Pandemic Reign of Cthulhu will be released at Gen Con this year. In the game, you are investigators trying to seal portals before you go insane, just like every other Cthulhu game. I try not to be cynical about this kind of stuff, but I can't see this as anything other than just a cash grab of mashing up the very popular genre of Lovecraft games and the very popular game Pandemic. It almost seems like a bad joke that gamers made because it really is kind of almost the most cliche things you could put in a game. And it's a little sad coming off of the heels of Pandemic Legacy, which was actually a really interesting and innovative and cool re-envisioning of a classic game, to have this, which I haven't played it, I don't know if it's good, honestly. I don't care much about it, but I'm sure it's going to sell a ton of copies because it is a popular theme and a popular game. But I kind of feel like we have more creativity out there in the board game world. But I guess we've got a place for everything, so there's no reason to be bitter about it. And if this makes some people happy, good for them. The Kickstarter this week is for Thief's Market from Tasty Minstrel Games. This is a quick dice game set in the Harbor universe, one of their popular titles from a year or two ago. In the game, you're all thieves that are trying to separate your loot evenly, and you roll dice, and that's your loot, and you draft the dice, but other people can take your dice from you. So if you draft too many, they're going to say, oh, never mind, I want those dice. So it's got kind of an interesting social dynamic to it as well. It's got nice art, nice custom dice, and it is $17 right now on Kickstarter, so if that interests you, go back it. All right, that's the news for this week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure to like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter to stay up to date with all of the cool Board with Life announcements. As I said last week, the Board with Life, the series, Season 2, will premiere February 29th, so that's this month, which is crazy. It's been 2 years in the making, and we've been working on it for so long, and it's so great to almost be done and have it out to you guys, because I really think you're going to love it. The podcast came back last week, so we're finishing off that Ravenloft campaign and then heading back to our Adventures in the New World campaign. So there'll be a new episode out tomorrow, because they'll come out Thursdays from here on out. And we are getting back to work on Houses and Humans. There was a huge technical difficulty where we basically lost a huge amount of audio, and Donald's having to painstakingly recreate that, but he's doing that, so that should be returning in the relatively near future as well. I think I'm going to stop answering questions at the end of the news segments, unless you guys really want that. Let me know if you guys really want that. But I think instead I'll probably be putting more of like the Board with Life news type stuff here at the end, so we can get right into game news at the beginning, because I know some of the viewers only want game news and they don't care at all about Board with Life stuff, which is fine. But so then I can make everybody happy, but still talk to the people who care about Board with Life news. So yeah, that is going to be the new format, unless there's like 3,000 comments on this, which would be crazy, because these videos don't get 3,000 views, saying like, no, the question's the best thing in the world. Anyway, so thanks so much for tuning in this week, and I'll see you next week.